call this meeting of the Committee of the Whole to order at 6:26. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Allen.
Here.
Mayor Murphy.
Here.
Mr. Miller.
Here.
Mr. Doherty.
Here.
Mr. Burchett.
Here.
Mrs. Witt.
Here.
Ms. Marcus.
Here. We have the approval of minutes for the Committee of the Whole meeting for April 11th. Hearing no changes, no corrections, they will be approved as they are. Hearing none, they are approved. Finance Director.
No report, thank you.
City Manager.
No report, Ms. Marcus, thank you.
Mayor.
Have no report.
Law Director.
Thank you. I have two requests this evening, ma'am. The first is to request a motion and vote to table the item B on tonight's agenda related to the military leave policy, and just in order to give me some additional time to present that to council at a future CAL meeting.
I'll make a motion that we table this discussion on the city military leave policy.
Any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Mayor Murphy.
Yes.
Mrs. Allen.
Yes.
Mrs. Witt.
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
Mr. Doherty.
Yes.
Mr. Burchett.
Yes.
Ms. Marcus.
Yes.
Thank you. The second request would be for an executive session with no business to follow at the end of this meeting for matters pertaining to employment of public employees and bargaining unit negotiations with respect to terms and conditions of employment.
Make a motion that we enter into an executive session on matters of employment bargaining issues.
Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Witt.
Yes.
Mr. Burchett.
Yes.
Mr. Doherty.
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
Mayor Murphy.
Yes.
Mrs. Allen.
Yes.
Ms. Marcus.
Yes. Clerk of Council.
I have nothing, thank you, Ms. Marcus.
Move into business. We have the one item, general discussion regarding marked cruiser damage, insurance payment, and possible replacement.
Thank you, ma'am. So you may have seen on the media, the news or social media, we lost a cruiser on the highway a few days ago, a couple weekends ago now. Officer was very lucky that there were no injuries, and drunk driver hit the rear of the cruiser, and if they hadn't hit the cruiser, they'd have probably hit the medic. So that just pulled up. So everyone was very lucky. So. But that makes us, we're almost certain that car is totaled. I think we're still waiting on the insurance company is sending out their own adjuster to look at it, to double check what the idea we got from the body shop. But we're almost certain it's one of the older cars in the fleet, and it was scheduled to go out next year anyways. We have an opportunity, though. So we went and picked up the Tahoes. You may have seen one out front. They're pretty sharp. Thank you again very much. When they went and picked up those Tahoes last week, though, the salesman mentioned that there was a good chance that there would be one Tahoe available later in the year based on cancellations that he was suspecting. So some of the agencies that he deals with, the salesman deals with, are very large agencies, and they order dozens and dozens of cars. And he said that there was a likelihood that one of those agencies was not going to take all the cars that they ordered, and one would be available. And he put us on a wait list to get one of those if we so chose. So we're not completely sure what the insurance payment would be, paying off the wrecked car, but we have a chance to replace that later this year. And I was just kind of trying to gauge council's interest in getting that replaced this year, if possible.
How many were we gonna try for next year?
2. The cycle that we're in, we're trying to keep 12 marked cars. 12 marked cars with the amount of officers we have out generally gets us a car driving 2 shifts a day, and then it sits for a third, and that helps with maintenance. So the fewer cars we have, the higher the maintenance goes up on all the other cars. So we try to keep 12 marked cars. The mechanics would prefer 12 marked cars. We have done it with less because of damage to cars before. But we are at 10 now, I believe, even with the 2 new ones. So,
I think a key interest here is the opportunity for this person being able to put in work so quickly.
right.
We would come back to you with supplemental have to determine value of the vehicle, correct?
Yeah, so it's, when the insurance company determines what we're getting, then there will be a gap of what we would have to supplemental for. And it's not exact, but it's kind of like when the fire department was trying to buy their fire engine 3 years from now and not knowing the price. We don't know which agency's not going to take which vehicle, so we don't know an exact price. The one that was sitting out there came in right at about $58,000 totally outfitted. If it was within 3 or 5% of that, we would be right around $61,000 total. So
I think we'd be proactive to replace it ASAP because everything just keeps going up. Next year, it'll probably go up another 1,000.
yeah,
Look at last year, look at this year. So, sooner the better.
that would be my suggestion. But like I said, I'm just trying to gauge interest and.
I agree
can-
with Mrs. Witt. The other thing is availability, because we've run into that problem before.
Right, exactly.
But we're going to trucks
Yeah.
and that. You want a voice vote?
Yeah, I guess I would need,
We can give you a thumbs up.
need a resolution for a supplemental, but I don't know what the amount of the supplemental would be. Need a resolution to buy the car, not to exceed, the salesman's trying to sharpen his pencil to figure out what he thinks it would actually be, but it would be, I think, right around $61,000, so.
But would we want to lock in at that? Because it
There-
could be 62 and you'd have to back.
I mean, Martina,
No.
we can fill in.
You could do a not to exceed amount. I guess my question was, I understand we don't know how much it's going to be because we don't know how much the insurance payment is. Would that be, Chief, through state bid?
It's a state
Okay.
bid car, but not, they don't know if it's going to be a 23 or a 24. They don't know which agency ordered extra equipment on their car. One got a stock car, one got some extra gewgaws and doodads put on it, so they're not sure which one we would actually get. It's kind of a guessing game, so, and it might not happen at all.
But it would be purchased via state bid
It would be
process.
state, it's
Okay.
state bid, yep.
Yeah, then I could arrange it I could word it so that we could.
Then I'll make a resolution that we make provision to buy this when we know. That sounds,
We could, is there a way to preemptively, not to exceed like 62 or 63,000?
Okay. Yeah.
Do a not to exceed.
Yeah.
And then just go ahead and have it on the books in case
And
it
there
comes
would-
up?
there would
Then if it
also-
doesn't come through, we can always repeal the resolution.
There would also be, we would need legislation for a supplemental.
Be two
We
pieces of
don't
legislation.
know- We don't know that amount yet.
but do we need to do
So not to exceed, say, 62,000, and then we can adjust it.
If we need it, yep.
Does that include outfitting and equipment?
That should be almost everything, like it was sitting, like the one that was sitting out front tonight, yeah.
We could do a supplemental for 62, and then if we don't need it, we could always fill it. Would that work for your end?
Sure.
Thanks.
Two pieces of legislation. Authorization.
Make a motion, supplemental of 62,000.
You have
Thank
a
you.
To
question or
exceed
comment?
62,000. Resolution. Not to exceed.
Any other questions or comments? Roll call, please.
2 separate votes? Okay. Mrs. Witt?
Yes.
Mr. Burchett?
Yes.
Mr. Darty?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mayor Murphy?
Yes.
Mrs. Allen?
Yes.
Ms. Marcus?
Yes.
And for the supplemental, Mayor Murphy?
Yes.
Mrs. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Darty?
Yes.
Mrs. Witt?
Yes.
Mr. Burchett?
Yes.
Ms. Marcus?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Concludes our business on the council, staff reports. We'll start with Parks and Rec this
Wow. Hey, thank you. I forgot to mention earlier, tomorrow night is our first movie night in the park. It is Disney's Wish. So come, it starts at 8:30. Hopefully the weather, I think, holds off, if I'm not mistaken from what I've heard. But yeah, come out to Wax Park tomorrow. Thank you.
City planner,
I have nothing tonight, Ms. Marcus. Thank you.
fire department,
Nothing to report, ma'am.
police,
Nothing further, ma'am. Thank you.
law director,
No, ma'am, thank you.
finance director,
Nothing further, thank you.
city manager,
I have nothing else, thank you.
mayor,
I have nothing to report, thank you.
Mrs. Allen,
Nothing to report.
Mrs. Witt,
Nothing to report, thank you.
Mr. Miller,
Nothing further, thank you.
Mr. Daughtry,
Nothing to report, thank you.
Mr. Burchett.
No report, thank you.
As at this time, I think I missed clerk of council.
Okay, I have nothing, thank you.
Okay, so at this time, we will adjourn to executive session with no business to follow at 6:37.